What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about 4 questions I have for Harry Potter Quidditch champions. And these are going to try to discuss all aspects of the game, just things I'm a little concerned about or just curious of as we get closer and closer to, number 1, I guess, the playtest, and number 2, the game coming out. So let's start at number 1, and it's really the core gameplay. So is all the positions going to be fun? How is the game going to play? That is probably the number 1 question I think a lot of people have. Now, while this game is most likely not going to just have Quidditch, in fact, that's a question we'll talk about later on in this video, it's going to be primarily reliant on Quidditch, okay? So we've talked about this in the past. Is every position going to be fun? I guess you could take this a step further, and there are some questions. Is it you versus another team, and you're playing as I believe it's 7v7, right? Quidditch is 7v7. Would you play as all 7 of your team, and the other online, real person out in the world, they're playing as the 7 on their team? Or is it where there's 14 people, I guess, in an online match, right? You join, there's 7 and 7, and then you pick which position you're going to play. I mean, it works for others. I've done it for NHL before. It can work. And then that secondary point is everything going to be fun? So we know one of them that's going to be at least fun, right? Really, and we've talked about it before, Quidditch is kind of built around finding the golden snitch. That's literally the entire point. So is everything else going to be exciting? I think it can. I think everything can be fun to play as. I just get a little worried of, is it going to feel rewarding? And much like any other game, when you have a Dead by Daylight or a Friday the 13th, right? When you have those kind of games, or even when you have sports games, there are positions that are preferred more than others, right? I could talk about NHL, hockey all day long, but there's certain positions that are kind of like, oh, you were the last to pick your position, right? You're all slotted 7 and 7, and then you on the analog stick, you go over and you pick which, spot you want to be in. There's always one or two that's like, well, number one, you need to go fast. So if you want a certain position, you need to be on the first second you're able to pick your position, you need to do it. And then there's some positions that are for the people that are too slow, or the people that don't have the reflexes, and everybody steals their positions. Then there's those. It's kind of inevitable, I assume. I guess a perfect multiplayer game would have every position being somewhat equal so that, everybody has a different kind of feel and you feel good no matter which position you're playing. It's pretty rare. So at the end of the day, that is going to be a major question or concern. And ultimately, obviously, we're not going to know that until the game comes out. So the second part is what's beyond Quidditch. So we talked about this in the Everything You Need to Know video I did yesterday. Okay, well, they definitely make it sound like it's going to be more than Quidditch. In fact, the way I read into it is there's going to be like broom races. I think, and it's tough because Hogwarts Legacy, they're kind of being developed almost at the same time. How much is being shared from one studio to the next? Basically, I'm saying, does this Quidditch Champions game, do they know that Hogwarts did broom races, right, where you have to go through the little circles? And I thought those were actually pretty okay. If you did that competitively against somebody else and you made it a little bit more dynamic, I think that could be pretty fun. I know a lot of people have pointed out the Patronus in the teaser trailer for this game. One of the first things they show is somebody casting a Patronus, so that kind of leads us to, well, why are you doing that? Are you doing that as a thing to hit other people? But that doesn't really make sense. So are you going to have a mode where Dementors come in? Or is that going to be like some ability where you're playing at night or you're playing too high or, whatever it may be? But are we going to have like a third party, like an enemy AI that kind of invades the arena and attacks while you're playing Quidditch? I guess you could say while you're playing Quidditch, I guess you could even do it during a broom race, right? It doesn't have to be exclusive to Quidditch. So, this game is going to be reliant on Quidditch, but they definitely make it sound like there's more than that. So we'll have to see what that more is. The third thing is the release date. So when I made the video, I actually didn't know for, a couple hours or several hours, I should say, after the video went up. The play test is actually this upcoming, the week that we're in. I believe it's this Friday, Saturday. So that's very quick. That's a very quick turnaround. I guess the question is, when does the actual game release, right? So this is a closed play test. These are invites that they're going to be sending out. I mean, you sign up for it, but then they're picking, I guess, who they want or waves of people or whatever. It's also, they call it a play test. I don't know if you even necessarily want to call it a beta. So I guess where are we in the development cycle? They've said they've been working on this game for multiple years now. So like at least 2, right? Maybe 3, maybe longer. This game really could come out this year. I know I had said my prediction personally was 2024. I guess that was before this playtest thing. It's a quick turnaround. So I can see this game coming out in 2023, like late. I don't think, we're getting this game full release like the next 2 months or anything. I think this game maybe October, November, somewhere around that range. If not, I think 2024. I would not be surprised, shocked, angry, any of those kind of words if they said, hey, this is a spring 2024 game. That's kind of my prediction, so that kind of makes sense to me. And the final and most alarming, I guess, or the thing like I probably want the answer on the absolute quickest is money. How do they intend to make money? So look, everything's cool right now. These are people doing their jobs. I respect that. I think the game, people have had some things to say about the looks of the game. To me, it's whatever. It doesn't look like incredible. Actually reminds me more of Multiverses. I know people are saying Fortnite. I guess maybe Multiverses took it from Fortnite and then this took it from Multiverses, but it's in that same kind of vein, in my opinion, as Multiverses. But beyond all that, beyond some controversy, some not, the biggest controversy, and you can take this to the bank, will be money, will be microtransactions, will be season pass, will be battle passes. We talked about this very briefly in yesterday's video. That is easily the biggest concern I have now, and it'll easily be the biggest concern I have when the game comes out. I guess a close second would be the gameplay, because if the game's no fun, or if the game's extremely fun, like that's a pretty big part of the game, right? Playing the game. But how they intend to monetize it, and maybe not even this Unbroken, the developers who are making it, maybe Warner Bros., right? WB, how do they intend to leech money off of us? And so what do I mean specifically? Is it free to play? Is it free to play, or do we have to pay for it? Because that's a big one. We have Crash Team Rumble, actually very recently, as in right now, as an example of pretty much just a multiplayer game, different modes, but pretty much just multiplayer, and it's $30. The base edition is $30. Whereas Multiverse is free to play, but you can have the Founders Pack, I believe is what they call it. I think they do it with Disney Dreamlight Valley as well. So there's ways of paying to get in early, and then when you're in the game, there's some ways of spending real world money into the game. The back and forth, right? If you're paying real world money to buy the game, so if this game charges 20, 30, 40 bucks at launch, well, the microtransactions better not be too bad, because you're already getting the base money from us. If the game's free to play, okay, I understand microtransactions, season pass, battle pass, whatever. I get that. Live service, all these adjectives. I don't even know if they're adjectives. I'm not an English major, but all these different things, okay? But at the same time, you can still ruin, a game being free to play. Doesn't immediately say, oh, you can just charge literally whatever you want, do whatever you want to get money from people on, the internal, the cosmetics and stuff like that. There's absolutely still a line there. And again, sadly, this is something we probably won't see fully until the game is out. Even the play test, like you may get a sense of it, but there's changes, especially with these kind of microtransactions. Sometimes they're put into the game like a month after the game comes out. In fact, Crash Team Racing did something like that. So there's different examples. Even if the game launches and they're not that bad, you always got to keep an eye on it, because they can always kind of sneak something else in. So that's definitely going to be the number one thing that I'm focusing on when this game comes out, even focusing on the playtest. If I can kind of read anything of how they plan on charging people, I want to know, and I want to report that, because I think that's very important. So let me know what you guys think about the game, what questions you have for the game, and hope we get in. Hope you guys signed up. I signed up. Hope some of us at least get accepted into this thing. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.